But if you're using that purely for fat loss, then you're gonna be disappointed because the afterburn effect, Orange Theory, it's not that much. I'm here to tell you guys what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So if you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. Hey, what's going on, guys? AndyX here, and today I'm going to be giving you 15 fat loss facts. These facts should be common sense by now, in my opinion. It's 2020, but unfortunately, not everybody knows this, and even a lot of influencers spread BS that is actually opposite of these facts. And that's just shameful. But today I'm going to be sharing with you facts on fat loss. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First one, there are no tricks behind fat loss, okay? So whether that's juice, detox teas, cream, cinnamon water, or lemon water, whatever, mint water, any kind of, a trick that you put into the water or something like that, apple cider, waist burners or whatever that is, the thing that wraps around your waist, those do not work. The only thing that governs fat loss is calorie deficit. You put yourself in an energy deficit and your body draws the energy that it needs to survive from your fat stores. That's how you get lean, okay? Second fact, you can't spot reduce. I think this should be common sense. So you can't do a bunch of crunches just to lose fat in the belly area, okay? And that goes for any fat, belly fat, limb fat, face fat. It doesn't matter. You can't do a bunch of this, okay? There are a lot of influencers shamefully telling people that they can spot reduce, thin your calves or something, shrink your arms by doing a bunch of, you can find them everywhere, okay? If you see any of those telling you that you can pick a specific area to lose fat, just walk the other way, close the video, okay? If you actually do a bunch of crunches, then you're actually building muscle in that area instead of subtracting fat mass from that area. So exercise is for adding, not subtracting masses. Number 3, you gain weight not because of hormones. The overarching law, once again, for weight change is calories. So if you gain weight, you just ate too many damn calories. That is why. Any hormones, insulin, or thyroid hormones, or any leptin, any kind of hormones, yes, they may affect the way your body works. If you don't have food in your body, if you have no energy that comes from food, let me ask you this. Where does the body get the fat from? Out of thin air? Think about that. So just because you think there is a hormonal problem, if you ate in a calorie deficit, trust me, you will lose weight. You know how I know? Not just from the scientific stuff, but from personal experience. Back when I was in university, I was told that I had a thyroid issue. So a bunch of thyroid indicators were not normal. And my doctor told me to try to lose weight in 6 months and come back to do like a retest to see if I was normal. If not, then I might need medication. So what happened was that I actually successfully lost some weight during those 6 months, and it actually fixed my thyroid issues. What I did was that I made sure that I was in a calorie deficit. Okay, so yes, my thyroid issue caused my metabolism to be lower than average, but if I ate even less than that, still create a calorie deficit, I was losing weight regardless. Does that make sense? So when my weight became more normal, my thyroid issue, well, at least for me, disappeared. Now, I'm not saying that this is any medical recommendation, okay? So this is just from my personal experience. So you should listen to your medical recommendations by your medical professional prior to my tips. But long story short, you're gaining weight not because of hormones. They may worsen the fat gain, but You gain fat not because of it. Does that make sense? More cardio burns calories, yes, but it does not always mean that it will cause fat loss, because it doesn't mean that you can adhere to it for long term. Now, cardio is great. It's great for health. It's great for your cardiovascular health. But if you're using that only for the sake of fat loss, then there's one factor that many people ignore, and that is your willpower. Okay, your willpower battery needs to be conserved. You know, studies have shown that any methods work if you put yourself in a calorie deficit, as long as it's adherable for you. Okay, so adherence is the key to success. And most of the time, if you're draining willpower for it, your hunger signals go up, your stress hormone go up, and you end up eating way more calories back than you actually burn from the cardio. So it could be a sport or a type of exercise that you like. And if you really don't have any, sports or exercise that you really enjoy, I personally recommend just go take a walk. Just go outside, enjoy nature, walk for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. And that is one of the best ways you can actually increase your energy expenditure, without triggering all kinds of hormonal changes and make you hungry as hell after. This is why I get this comment so much. Hey Andy, I'm doing so much cardio, I'm doing so much exercises. How come I'm not losing weight? Well, that is why. I mentioned willpower, conserving willpower battery. Okay, that is the key to losing fat. And I mentioned earlier, adherence is the indicator of fat loss success. So watch your willpower battery. Okay, so you don't want to be, eating foods that you don't love. You don't want to be doing cardio and exercise that you don't love just for the sake of fat loss. Because when your willpower drains to none, that is when you quit. Believe it or not, it's not 12 days. It may not even be 12 weeks. Sometimes it may not even be 12 months. It may not even be a year. It may be longer than that. So you got to make sure that you're in a calorie deficit in your most enjoyable way, so that you can burn fat effortlessly without even feeling like sometimes you're on a diet or in a calorie deficit. And that's the key to getting down to low body fat, is that you don't want to be feeling like you're always miserable when you're in a calorie deficit. Next, eating at night doesn't make you fat. Again, your body governs weight change because of one overarching line, and that is calories. So it doesn't matter when you eat. Okay, you can eat during the day, you can eat at night, you can eat at 3 p.m., you can eat at 3 a.m. It doesn't matter. Actually, I eat my meals towards later in the day. Actually, most of my meals at night. And I look like this. If eating at night makes you fat is true, then I wouldn't look like this. Okay, so my personal recommendation is actually eat towards the nighttime. Okay, because your willpower battery, your daily willpower battery, is the highest when you wake up and lowest before you go to bed. And you want to work with it, not against it. And I mentioned it in my other videos that, eating at night actually makes sticking to a calorie deficit a lot easier. That's different from person to person, but it makes sense to work with your willpower patterns, right? So you want to be saving your calories when your willpower is high, because that's easier to do. And you don't want to be asking your mind for more willpower at nighttime when you're hungry. And I actually have a video from earlier talking about why eating at night doesn't make you fat. So check that out. HIIT cardio, high intensity interval training. HIIT cardio isn't better for fat loss. And if you're chasing the afterburn effect, first of all cardio is just simply negative calories. if food were to be positive calories, cardio is just negative calories. It's not anything magical that burns fat, okay? A calorie deficit in your net calories is what burns fat. Like if you were to eat 10,000 calories and you went outside to run, well, you got tons of calories in your body from food, so your body isn't really going to burn fat, okay? It's primarily still storing fat because you ate so much. HIIT cardio has its advantage in terms of sports athletic performance conditioning, or simply for your cardiovascular health. It's great. But if you're using that purely for fat loss, then you're going to be disappointed because the afterburn effect, Orange Theory, it's not that much. Your so-called scientific, the scientific epoch effect, it's not that much. Studies have shown that on average, it's about 10% of the calories burnt from your HIIT. So usually, on average, people work really hard in one HIIT session and burn about 300 calories, while the afterburn effect is 30 calories for the next 48 hours. Don't chase the afterburn effect. HIIT cardio is not anything magical, okay? It's just like any other cardio. Next, carbs do not make you fat. It doesn't matter what macronutrient you eat, fat, protein, carbs. If you ate too many calories, you're going to gain weight. If you ate in a calorie deficit, but theoretically you ate all carbs, you're still going to lose weight. Does that make sense? Next, no one single type of food can make you fat. Don't be scared of a cookie or bag of chips or fried chicken or something. And just because something is healthy, it doesn't mean that it won't make you fat if you ate too much of it. It's always the amount. And it comes down to calories. Okay, so stop labeling food as fattening food or fat loss food. They don't exist. Okay, next, no one single type of food can help you lose fat or boost metabolism. So I mentioned the first part. Second part, boost metabolism. That doesn't exist. Okay? At least to the point where you can rely on it for fat loss. Okay, so always look into your calories. Next, eating healthy doesn't always mean you're gonna lose weight. Okay, again, it's about calorie deficit. People often equate eating healthy to fat loss, and that's just simply not true. There's so many healthy, and by doing this, it means that it's questionable. But people like to label these things healthy. So by eating healthy, they think they're gonna lose weight, but often these foods are high in calories. Okay, so there are people who think that peanut butter is healthy. It's a bunch of fats, so it's gonna be very, very high in calories. Avocados, that's like, the hippies like to, eat that because they think that it's cool and, they feel healthy and whatever. That's healthy fat. Well, guess what? It's got a lot of calories for, the amount of food that it is. So if you are always eating foods that are high calorie density, you're gonna feel like you haven't ate much food and you've already accumulated a lot of calories. So just because something is healthy, it doesn't mean that you're gonna lose weight if you don't look at your calories. Any kind of diet, fasting, keto, vegan, carb cycling, low carb, low fat, whatever diet, they won't magically cause fat loss unless a calorie deficit is in place. So I hate how some of these diet preachers, they're like, for example, the keto, not all keto people, but some keto peoples, they're like, oh, just cut out carbs and you can just eat like whatever you want. You don't have to count calories and you'll still lose fat. That's not true. If you ate just bacon, but in a surplus of calories, but you ate no carbs at all, guess what? You're going to gain fat because your body is in an energy surplus. When it's in energy surplus, it doesn't know what to do with the extra energy. What does it do? It stores that energy as fat. It's that simple. It doesn't matter if your insulin sensitivity is higher, that it's less likely to store fat. Well, here's the thing. Just because your body functions more efficiently hormonally doesn't mean that when there's extra energy, it's just gonna, discard it. No, it's gonna still store as fat. Does that make sense? Artificial sweeteners do not make you fat. Artificial sweeteners, when there's 0 calories, there is no energy. If there is no energy, it's not gonna make you fat. I know sure as hell that real sugar has calories. So that's gonna store fat when you're in an energy surplus. So for sugar, you're essentially taking in energy while sugar itself isn't going to make you full. So there are studies that are saying that artificial sweeteners are linked with weight gain. Well, here's the thing. Those studies are correlational. What that means is that they've taken people who drink diet sodas that obviously include artificial sweeteners, and they look at their weight change. Well, there are too many other factors. Let me give you one. People who tend to go for diet sodas also tend to eat more fast food. So if they chose Diet Coke, for example, when they're ordering their Big Mac meal, yes, the Diet Coke is 0 calories, but the Big Mac is like 1,000 calories with like the fries or whatever. That's what causing the weight gain. It's not the Diet Coke. And I can tell you that I've been drinking diet sodas for like, God knows when, years. I'm not overweight. It's because I'm not in a calorie surplus. Again, it comes back down to calories. Okay, so artificial sweeteners by itself are not going to make you fat. Stop being so precise on macros. There are 2 things that I think that you should hit. You should budget when you're trying to lose fat and have that toned body. So not just lose weight, but lose fat. 1, obviously calories, but 2, protein. You need enough protein. Those 2 are what you need to watch out for. I wouldn't be so obsessed with carbs and fats, okay? But if you are too meticulous in all the macros, you're making things unnecessarily difficult. And when it's unnecessarily difficult, you are using willpower. And when you drain your willpower, you're more likely to quit. Keep things simple and just worry about calories and protein. Last one. If someone tells you that you don't have to worry about calories to lose fat, that there's some kind of trick, some kind of method that will, turn on a fat melting system, whatever it is, and then you can eat however much you want and you'll still lose fat. If you hear anything like that, where you can ignore calories, then right off the bat, that is automatically false, okay? The overarching law that doesn't change is the law of thermodynamics. I swear to God, like every year, there's gonna be some kind of new trick, some kind of, cinnamon water or apple cider, whatever it is, some kind of new trick that will tell you, oh, you can just do this and it'll crank up, your metabolism, or it'll activate, some deep-rooted fat melting, whatever, add a little bit of turmeric or whatever. Every freaking year, there's something new. Stop listening to these things. Okay, you're getting fooled every single year. Come on, guys, be smart now. It's 2020. Calorie deficit should be common sense. Calorie deficit being the rule to fat loss should be common sense now. Okay, so that is my 14 facts on fat loss. Hope that clears a lot of things up for you. Check out my other videos for more detailed explanation on these topics, and I'll link some of these videos in the description below. If you like stuff like this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have any other questions in terms of, losing fat, getting lean, building muscle in the right proportion to get your dream body physique, and I'll be sure to address them in future videos. Alright guys, take care.